Effusion by John Clare. (1865) Ah, little did I think in time that's past, By summer burnt, or numbed by winter's blast, Delving the ditch a livelihood to earn, Or lumping corn out in a dusty barn, With aching bones returning home at night, And sitting down with weary hand to write. Ah, little did I think, as then unknown, Those artless rhymes I even blush to own Would be one day applauded and approved, By learning noticed, and by genius loved. God knows my hopes were many, but my pain Damped all the prospects which I hoped to gain. I hardly dared to hope, thou corner chair, In which I've oft slunk back in deep despair, Hadst thou expression, thou couldst easy tell The pains and all that I have known too well. 'Twould be but sorrow's tale, yet still 'twould be A tale of truth, and passing sweet to me. How oft upon my hand I've laid my head, And thought how poverty deformed our shed, Looked on each parent's face I fain had cheered, Where sorrow triumphed and pale want appeared, And sighed, and hoped, and wished some day would come When I might bring a blessing to their home, That toil and merit comforts had in store, To bid the tear defile their cheeks no more. Who that has feelings would not wish to be A friend to parents such as mine to me, Who in distress broke their last crust in twain, And though want pinched the remnant, broke again, And still, if craving of their scanty bread, Gave their last mouthful that I might be fed. Nor for their own wants tear drops followed free, Worse anguish stung they had no more for me. And now hope's sun is looking brighter out, And spreading thin the clouds of fear and doubt, That long in gloomy sad suspense to me Hid the long waited smiles I wished to see. And now, my parents, helping you is sweet. The rudest havoc fortune could complete, A piteous couple, little blest with friends. Where pain and poverty have had their ends, I'll be thy crutch, my father, lean on me. Weakness knits stubborn while it's bearing thee, And hard shall fall the shock of fortune's frown To eke thy sorrows ere it breaks me down. My mother, too, thy kindness shall be met, And ere I'm able will I pay the debt. For what thou'st done, and what gone through for me, My last earned sixpence will I break with thee. And when my dwindled sum won't more divide, Then take it all, to fate I'll leave the rest. In helping thee I'll always feel pride, Nor think I'm happy till ye both are blest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ballad by John Clare. By Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. A wheatling wild on lonely lea My evening rambles chanced to see, And much the wheatling tempted me To crop its tender flower. Exposed to wind and heavy rain, Its head bowed lowly on the plain, And silently it seemed in pain Of life's endangered hour. And wilt thou bid my bloom decay, And crop my flower, and me betray, And cast my injured sweets away? Its silence seemed sighed. A moment's idle of thy mind, And is a stranger so unkind To leave a shameful root behind, Bereft of all its pride? And so it seemly did complain, And beating fell the heavy rain, And how it drooped upon the plain, To fate resigned to fall. My heart did melt at its decline, And come, said I, thou gem divine, My fate shall stand the storm with thine. So took the root and all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Song by John Clare. read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. One gloomy eve I roamed about 'neath Oxey's hazel bowers, While timid hares were darting out to crop the dewy flowers. And soothing was the scene to me, right pleased was my soul, My breast was calm as summer's sea when waves forgot to roll. But short was even Placid's smile, my startled soul to charm, When Nelly lightly skipped the stile, with milk pail on her arm. One careless look on me she flung, as bright as parting day, And like a hawk from covert sprung, it pounced my peace away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Gypsies' Camp by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Chris Pyle. How oft on Sundays when I'd time to tramp, my rambles led me to a gypsy's camp, where the real effigy of midnight hags, with tawny smoked flesh and tattered rags, uncouth brimmed hat and a weather-beaten cloak, 'neath the wild shelter of a knotty oak, along the greensward uniforming pricks her pliant bending hazels arching sticks, while round top bush or briar entangled hedge, where flag leaves spring beneath, or ramping sedge, keep off the bothering bustle of the wind, and give the best retreat she hopes to find. How oft I bent me o'er her fire and smoke to hear her gibberish tale so quaintly spoke, while the old Sibyl forged her boding clack, twin imps the meanwhile bawling at her back. Oft on my hand her magic coin's been struck, and hoping chinks she talked of morts of luck, and still as boyish hopes did first agree, mingled with fears to drop the fortune's fee, I never failed to gain the honors sought, and squire and lord were purchased with a grot. But as man's unbelieving taste came round, she furious stamped her shoeless foot aground, wiped by her soot-black hair with clenching fist, while through her yellow teeth the spittle hissed, swearing by all her lucky powers of fate, which like footboys on her actions wait, that fortune's scale should to my sorrow turn, and I one day the rash neglect should mourn, that good to bad should change, and I should be lost to this world in all eternity, that poor as Job I should remain unblessed, alas for fourpence now my die is cast, of not a hoarded farthing be possessed, and when all's done be shoved to hell at last. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the Clouds by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. O painted clouds, sweet beauties of the sky, how have I viewed your motion and your rest, when, like fleet hunters, ye have left mine eye, in your thin gauze of woolly fleecing dressed, or in your threatened thunder's grave black vest, like black deep waters slowly moving by, awfully striking the spectator's breast with your Creator's dread sublimity, as admiration mutely views your storms. And I do love to see you idly lie, painted by heaven as various as your forms, pausing upon the eastern mountain high, as morn awakes with spring's wood harmony, and sweeter still when in your slumber's sooth you hang the western arch o'er day's proud eye, still as the even pool, uncurved and smooth, my gazing soul has looked most placidly, and higher still devoutly wished to strain, to wipe your shrouds and sky's blue blinders by, with all the warmness of a moon-struck brain, to catch a glimpse of him who bids you reign, and view the dwelling of all majesty. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Woodman by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Dedicated to the Reverend J. Knowles Holland. The beating snow-clad bell, with sounding dead, hath clanked 4, the woodman's waked again, and, as he leaves his comfortable bed, dithers to view the rimy feathered pane, and shrugs, and wishes, but 'tis all in vain. The bed's warm comforts he must now forego, his family that oft till 8 hath lain, without his labour's wage could not do so, and glad to make them blest he shuffles through the snow. The early winter's morn is dark as pitch, the wary wife from tinder brought at night, with flint and steel, and May a sturdy twitch, sits up in bed to strike her man a light, and as the candle shows the rapturous sight, aside his wife his rosy, sleeping boy, he smacks his lips with exquisite delight, with all a father's feelings, father's joy, then bids his wife good bye, and he's to his employ. His breakfast water porridge, humble food, a barley crust he in his wallet flings, on this he toils and labours in the wood, and chops his faggot, twists his band, and sings, as happily as princes and as kings, with all their luxury, and, blest is he, can but the little which his labour brings, make both ends meet, and from long debts keep free, and neat and clean preserve his numerous family. Far o'er the dreary fields the woodland lies, rough is the journey which he daily goes, the woolly clouds, that hang the frowning skies, keep winnowing down their drifting sleet and snows, and thro' his doublet keen the north wind blows, while hard as iron the cemented ground, and smooth as glass the glebe pool is froze. His nailed boots with clenching tread rebound, and dithering echo starts and mocks the clamping sound. The woods how gloomy in a winter's morn! The crows and ravens even cease to croak, the little birds sit chittering on the thorn, the pies scarce chatter when they leave the oak, startled from slumber by the woodman's stroke. The milkmaid's song is drowned in gloomy care, and while the village chimneys curl their smoke, she milks, and blows, and hastens to be there, and nature all seems sad, and dying in despair. The quirking rabbit scarcely leaves her hole, but rolls in torpid slumbers all the day. The fox is loath to gin a long patrol, and scouts the woods, content with meaner prey. The hare so frisking, timid once and gay, hind the dead thistle hurkles from the view, nor scarce is scared though in the traveller's way, though waffling curs and shepherd dogs pursue, so winter's ragged power affects all nature through. What different changes winter's frowns supply! The clown no more a loitering hour beguiles, nor gaping tracks the clouds along the sky, as when buds blossom, and the warm sun smiles, and Lawrence wages bids, on hills and stiles, banks, stiles, and flowers, and skies, no longer charm, Deep drifting snow each summer seat defiles, with hasty blundering step and folded arm, he glad the stable seeks, his frost-nipped nose to warm, the shepherd haunts no more his spreading oak, nor on the sloping pondhead lies at lair, the arbor he once waddled up is broke, and left unworthy of his future care, the ragged plundering stickers have been there, and pilfered it away, he passes by, his summer dwelling, desolate and bare, and ne'er so much as turns a conscious eye, but gladly seeks his fire, and shuns the inclement sky. The scene is clothed in snow from morn till night, the woodman's loth his chilly tools to seize, the crows unroosting as he comes in sight, shake down the feathery burden from the trees, to look at things around he's fit to freeze, scarred from her perch the fluttering pheasant flies, his hat and doublet whiten by degrees, he quakes, looks round, and pats his hands and sighs, and wishes to himself that the warm sun would rise. The robin, tamest of the feathered race, soon as he hears the woodman's sounding chops, with ruddy bosom and a simple face, around his old companion fearless hops, and there for hours in pleased attention stops. The woodman's heart is tender and humane, and at his meals he may a crumble drops. Thanks to thy generous feelings, gentle swain, and what thy pity gives shall not be given in vain. The woodman gladly views the closing day, to see the sun drop down behind the wood, sinking in clouds deep blue or misty gray, round as football and as red as blood. The pleasing prospect does his heart much good, though 'tis not his such beauties to admire, he hastens to fill his bags with billet wood, well pleased from the chill prospect to retire, to seek his corner chair, and warm snug cottage fire, and, soon as dusky even hovers round, and the white frost 'gins crizzle pond and brook, the little family are glimpsing round, and from the door dart many a wistful look, the supper's ready stewing on the hook, and every foot that clampers down the street is for the coming father's step mistook, o'erjoyed are they when he their eyes doth meet, bent 'neath his load snow clad, as white as any sheet. I think I see him seated in his chair, taking the bellows up the fire to blow, I think I hear him joke and chatter there, telling his children news they wished to know, with leather leggings on that stopped the snow, and broad-brimmed hat uncouthly shapen round, nor would he, I'd be bound, if it were so, give twopence for the chance, could it be found, at that same hour to be the King of England crowned. The woodman smokes, the brats in mirth and glee, and artless prattle, even hours beguile, while love's last pledge runs scrambling up his knee, the nightly comfort from his weary toil, his chafed cheeks dimpling in a fondling smile. He claims his kiss, and says his scraps of prayer, begging his daddy's pretty song the while, playing with his jacket buttons and his hair, and thus in wedlock's joy the laborer drowns his care. And, as most laborers knowingly pretend, by certain signs to judge the weather right, as oft from Noah's ark great floods descend, and buried moons foretell great storms at night, In such like things the woodman took delight, And ere he went to bed would always ken Whether the sky was gloom'd or stars shone bright, And then went to Comfort's arms till morn, and then, As cheery as the sun, resumed his toils again. And ere he slept he always breathed a prayer, I thank thee, Lord, that thou to day didst give Sufficient strength to toil, and bless thy care, And thank thee still for what I may receive, And, O mighty God, while I still live, Ere my eyes open on the last day's sun, Prepare thou me this wicked world to leave, And fit my passage ere my race is run. 'Tis all I beg, O Lord, thy heavenly will be done. Holland, to thee this humble ballad's sent, Who for the poor man's welfare oft hast prayed, Whose tongue did ne'er belie its good intent, Preacher, as well in practice as in trade. Alas, too often money's business made! O may the wretch, that's still in darkness living, The Bible's comforts hear by thee displayed, And many a woodman's family forgiven, Have cause for blessing thee that led their way to heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Rural Evening by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. The sun now sinks behind the wooded green, And twittering spangles glow the leaves between, So bright and dazzling on the eye it plays, As if noon's heat had kindled to a blaze. But soon it dims in red and heavier hues, And shows wild fancy cheated in her views. A mist like moisture rises from the ground, And deeper blueness stains the distant round. The eye each moment as it gazes o'er Still loses objects which it marked before, The woods at distance changing light to clouds, And spire points cooling under evening's shrouds, Till forms of things and hues of leaf and flower, In deeper shadows, as by magic power, With light and all, in scarce perceived decay, Put on mild evening's sober garb of grey. Now in the sleepy gloom that blackens round Dies many a lulling hum of rural sound, From cottage door, farmyard, and dusty lane, Where home the cart house tolters with the swain, Or padded home, where village boys resort, Bawling enraptured o'er their evening sport, Till night awakens superstition's dread, And drives them prisoners to a restless bed. Thrice happy eve of days no more to me! Who ever thought such change belonged to thee? When, like to boys whom now thy gloom surrounds, I chased the stag, or played at fox and hounds, Or wandered down the lane with many a mate, To play at see saw on the pasture gate, Or on the threshold of some cottage sat, To watch the flittings of the shrieking bat, Who, seemly pleased to mock our treacherous view, Would even swoop and touch us as he flew, And vainly still our hopes to entertain, Would stint his route, and circle us again, Till wearied out with many a coaxing call, Which boyish superstition loves to bawl, His shrill song shrieking he betook to flight, And left us puzzled in short sighted night. Those days have fled me, as from them they steal, And I felt losses they must shortly feel, But sure such ends make every bosom sore, To think of pleasures we must meet no more. Now from the pasture milking maidens come, With each a swain to bear the burden home, Who often coax them on their pleasant way, To soodle longer out in love's delay, While on a molehill or a resting stile The simple rustics try their arts the while, With giggling smiles and hopes and fears between, Snatching a kiss to open what they mean, And all the utmost that their tongues can do, The honeyed words which nature learns to woo, The wildflower sweets of language, love and dear, With warmest utterings meet each maiden's ear, Who as by magic smit, she knows not why, From the warm look that waits a wished reply, Droops fearful down in love's delightful swoon, As slinks the bosom from the suns of noon, While sighs half smothered from the throbbing breast, And broken words sweet trembling o'er the rest, And cheeks in blushes burning, turned aside, Betray the plainer what she strives to hide. The amorous swain sees through the feigned disguise, Discerns the fondness she at first denies, And with all passions love and truth can move, Urges more strong the simpering maid to love, More freely using toying ways to win Tokens that echo from the soul within, Her soft hand nipping that with ardor burns, And timid gentler presses its returns, Then stealing pins with innocent deceit, To loose the kerchief from its envied seat, Then unawares her bonnet he'll untie, Her dark brown ringlets wiping gently by, To steal a kiss in seemly feigned disguise, As love yields kinder taken by surprise, While nearly conquered she less disapproves, And owns at last, 'mid tears and sighs, she loves, With sweetest feelings that this world bestows, Now each to each their inmost souls disclose, Vow to be true, and to be truly ta'en, Repeat their loves, and vow it o'er again, And pause at loss of language to proclaim Those purest pleasures, yet without a name, And while in highest ecstasy of bliss, The shepherd holds her yielding hand in his, He turns to heaven to witness what he feels, And silent shows what want of words conceals, Then ere the parting moments hustle nigh, And night in deeper dye his curtain dips, Till next day's evening glads the anxious eye, He swears his truth and seals it on her lips. At even's hour the truce of toil, 'tis sweet The sons of labour at their ease to meet, On piled bench, beside the cottage door, Made up of mud and stones and sodded o'er, Where rustic taste at leisure trimly weaves The rose and straggling woodbine to the eaves, And on the crowded spot that pales enclose, The white and scarlet daisy rears in rows, Training the trailing peas in bunches neat, Perfuming evening with a luscious sweet, And sunflowers planting for their gilded show, That scale the window's lattice ere they blow, Then sweet two habitants within the sheds Peep through the diamond pane their golden heads, Or at the shop where ploughs and harrows lie, Well known to every child that passes by, From shining fragments littering on the floor, And branded letter burnt upon the door, Where meddling boys, the torment of the street, In hard burnt cinders ready weapons meet, To pelt the martins 'neath the eaves at rest, that oft are waked to mourn a ruined nest, Or sparrows that delight their nests to leave In dust to flutter at the cool of eve. For such like scenes the gossip leaves her home, And sons of labour light their pipes, and come To talk of wages, whether high or low, And mumble news that still as secrets go, When heedless then to all the rest may say, The beckoning lover nods the maid away, And at a distance many an hour they seem In jealous whisperings o'er their pleasing theme, While children round them teasing sports prolong, To twirl the top, or bounce the hoop along, Or shout across the street their one catch all, Or poke the housed bee from the cottage wall. Now at the parish cottage walled with dirt, Where all the cumber grounds of life resort, From the low door that bows two props between, Some feeble tottering dame surveys the scene, By them reminded of the long lost day, When she herself was young, and went to play, And turning to the painful scenes again, The mournful changes she has met since then, Her aching heart the contrast moves so keen, And sighs a wish that life had never been. Still vainly sinning, while she strives to pray, Half smothered discontent pursues its way, In whispering Providence, how blest she'd been If life's last troubles she'd escaped unseen, If want sneaked for grudged support from pride, She had but shared of childhood joys and died. And as to talk some passing neighbors stand, And shove their box within her tottering hand, She turns from echoes of her younger years, And nips the portion of her snuff with tears. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Rustic Fishing by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. On Sunday mornings, freed from hard employ, How oft I marked the mischievous young boy With anxious haste his pole and lines provide, For makeshifts oft crooked pins to thread were tied, And delve his knife with wishes ever warm In rotten dunghills for the grub and worm, The harmless treachery of his hooks to bait, Tracking the dewy grass with many a mate, To seek the brook that down the meadows glides, Where the grey willow shadows by its sides, Where flag and reed in wild disorder spread, And bending bulrush bows its taper head, And, just above the surface of the floods, Where water lilies mount their snowy buds, On whose broad swimming leaves of glossy green The shining dragon fly is often seen, Where hanging thorns with roots washed bare appear, That shield the moorhen's nest from year to year, While crowding osiers mingling wild among, Prove snug asylums to her brood when young, Who, when surpassed by foes approaching near, Plunge 'neath the weeping boughs and disappear. They're far from terrors that the parson brings, Or church bell hearing when its summons rings, Half hid in meadow sweet and cacked high flowers, In lonely sport they spend the Sunday hours. Though ill supplied for fishing seemed the brook That breeks the mead in many's stinted crook, Oft choked in weeds and foiled to find a road, The choice retirement of the snake and toad, Then lost in shallows, dimpling restlessly In fluttering struggles, murmuring to be free, O'er gravel stones its depth can scarcely hide, it runs remnant of its broken tide, Till seemly weary of each cloaked control, It rests collected in some gulled hole, Scooped by the sudden floods when winter's snow Melts in confusion by a hasty thaw. There bent in hopeful musings on the brink, They watch their floating corks that seldom sink, Save when a wary roach or silver bream Nibbles the worm as passing up the stream, Just urging expectation's hopes to stay To view the dodging cork, then slink away. Still hopes keep burning with untired delight, Still wobbling curves keep wavering like a bite. If but the breezy wind their floats should spring, And move the water with a troubling ring, A captive fish still fills the anxious eyes, And willow wicks lie ready for the prize, Till evening gales awaken damp and chill, And nip the hopes that morning suns instil, And resting flies have tired their gauzy wing, Nor longer tempt the watching fish to spring, Who at the worm no nibbles more repeat, But lunge from night in sheltering flag retreat. Then disappointed in their day's employ, They seek amusement in a feebler joy. Short is the sigh for fancies proved untrue, With humbler hopes still pleasure they pursue. Where the rude oak bridge scales the narrow pass, Half hid in rustling reeds and scrambling grass, Or stepping stones stride o'er the narrow sloughs, Which maidens daily cross to milk their cows. There they in artless glee for minnows run, And wade and dabble past the setting sun, Chasing the strudel o'er the shallow tide, And flat stones turning up where gudgeons hide. All former hopes their ill success delayed, In this new change they fancy well repaid, And thus they wade and chatter o'er their joys, Till night, unlooked for, young success destroys, Drives home the suns of solitude and streams, And stops uncloyed hopes, ever freshening dreams. They then, like schoolboys that at truant play, In sloomy fear lounge on their homeward way, And inly tremble as they gain the town, Where chastisement awaits with many a frown, And hazel twigs, in readiness prepared For their long absence, brings a meet reward. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. June by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Now summer is in flower, and nature's hum Is never silent round her bounteous bloom. Insects, as small as dust, have never done With glittering dance, and reeling in the sun, And green woodfly, and blossom haunting bee, Are never weary of their melody. Round field and hedge, flowers in full glory twine, Large bindweed bells, wild hop, and street woodbine, That lift athirst their slender throated flowers, Agape for dewfall, and for honey showers. These o'er each bush in sweet disorder run, And spread their wild hues to the sultry sun. The mottled spider at eve's leisure weaves His webs of silken lace on twigs and leaves, Which every morning meet the poet's eye Like fairies' dew wet dresses hung to dry. The wheat swells into ear, and hides below The May month wild flowers and their gaudy show, Leaving a schoolboy's height in snugger rest, The leveret's seat, and lark, and partridge nest. The mowers now bend o'er the beaded grass, Where oft the gypsy's hungry journeying ass Will turn his wishes from the meadow paths, Listening the rustle of the falling swaths. The ploughman sweats along the fallow vales, And down the sun cracked furrow slowly trails, Oft seeking, when athirst, the brook's supply, Where, brushing eagerly the bushes by, For coolest water he disturbs the rest Of ring dove brooding o'er its idle nest. The shepherd's leisure hours are over now, No more he loiters 'neath the hedgerow bough, On shadow's pillowed banks and lolling stile. The wilds must lose their summer friend awhile. With whistle, barking dogs, and chiding scold, He drives the bleating sheep from fallow fold To wash pools, where the willow shadows lean, Dashing them in, their stained coats to clean. Then, on the sunny sward, when dry again, He brings them homeward to the clipping pen Of hurdles, formed where elm or sycamore Shut out the sun, or to some threshing floor. There with the scraps of songs, and laugh and tale, He lightens annual toil, where merry ale Goes round, and glads some old man's heart to praise The threadbare customs of his early days. How the high bowl was in the middle set At breakfast time, when clippers yearly met, Filled full of furmity, where dainty swum The streaking sugar, and the spotting plum. The maids could never to the table bring The bowl, without one rising from the ring To lend a hand, who, if 'twere ta'en amiss, Would sell his kindness for a stolen kiss. The large stone pitcher in its homely trim, And clouded pint horn with its copper rim, Were there, from which were drunk, with spirits high, Healths of the best cellar could supply, While sung the ancient swains, in uncouth rhymes, Songs that were pictures of the good old times. Thus will the old man ancient ways bewile, Till toiling shears gain ground upon the tail, And break it off, for now the timid sheep, His fleece shorn off, starts with a fearful leap, Shaking his naked skin with wondering joys, While others are brought in by sturdy boys. Though fashion's haughty frown hath thrown aside Half the old form's simplicity supplied, Yet there are some pride's winter dynes to spare, Left like green ivy when the trees are bare. And now when shearing of the flocks is done, Some ancient customs, mixed with harmless fun, Crown the swain's merry toils. The timid maid, Pleased to be praised, and yet of praise afraid, Seeks the best flowers, not those of woods and fields, But such as every farmer's garden yields. Fine cabbage roses, painted like her face, The shining pansy, trimmed with golden lace, The tall topped larkhills, feathered thick with flowers, The woodbine climbing o'er the door in bowers, The London tufts of many a mottled hue, The pale pink pea, and monkshood darkly blue, The white and purple gillyflowers that stay Ling ring in blossom, summer half away, The single blood walls of a luscious smell, Old fashioned flowers which housewives loved so well. The columbine, stone blue, or deep night brown, their honeycomb like blossoms hanging down. Each cottage garden's fond adopted child, though he still claim them, where they yet go wild, with marjoram knots, sweet briar, and ribbon grass, and lavender the choice of every lass, and sprigs of lad's love, all familiar names, which every garden through the village claims. The maid gathers with a coy delight, and ties them up in readiness for night, then gives to every swain, 'tween love and shame, her clipping posies, as his yearly claim. He rises to obtain the customed kiss, with stifled smiles, half hankering after bliss. She shrinks away, and blushing calls it rude, yet turns to smile, and hopes to be pursued. While one, to whom the hint may be applied, follows to gain it, and is not denied. The rest the loud laugh raise to make it known, she blushes silent, and will not disown. Thus ale, and song, and healths, and merry ways, keep up a shadow still of former days. But the old beechen bowl, that once supplied the feast of furmity, is thrown aside, and the old freedom that was living then, when masters made them merry with their men, when all their coats alike were russet brown, and his rude speech was vulgar as their own. All this is past, and soon will pass away, the time-torn remnant of the holiday. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. December by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. Glad Christmas comes, and every hearth makes room to give him welcome now. E'en want will dry its tears in mirth, and crown him with a holly bough. Though tramping 'neath a winter sky, o'er snowy paths and rimy stiles, the housewife sets her spinning by, to bid him welcome with her smiles. Each house is swept the day before, and windows stuck with evergreens. The snow is bosomed from the door, and comfort crowns the cottage scenes. Gilt holly with its thorny pricks, and yew and box with berries small, these deck the unused candlesticks, and pictures hanging by the wall. Neighbors resume their annual cheer, wishing with smiles and spirits high, glad Christmas and a happy year to every morning passer by. Milkmaids their Christmas journeys go, accompanied with favored swain, and children pace the crumping snow to taste their granny's cake again. The shepherd now, no more afraid, since custom doth the chance bestow, starts up to kiss the giggling maid beneath the branch of mistletoe, that 'neath each cottage beam is seen, with pearl-like berries shining gay, the shadow still of what hath been, which fashion yearly fades away. The singing waits, a merry throng, at early morn with simple skill, yet imitate the angels' song, and chant their Christmas ditty still. And 'mid the storm that dies and swells, by fits, in hummings softly steals, the music of the village bells, ringing round their merry peals. When this is past, a merry crew, bedecked in masks and ribbons gay, the morris dance, their sports renew, and act their winter evening play. The clown turned king for penny praise Storms with the actor's strut and swell, And Harlequin, a laugh to raise, Wears his hunchback and tinkling bell. And off for pence and spicy ale, With winter nosegays pinned before, The wassail singer tells her tale, And draws her Christmas carols o'er. While 'prentice boy with ruddy face And rhyme bepowered dancing locks, From door to door with happy pace Runs round to claim his Christmas box. The block upon the fire is put To sanction custom's old desires, And many a faggot's bands are cut For the old farmer's Christmas fires, Where loud tongued gladness joins the throng, And winter meets the warmths of May, Till feeling soon the heat too strong, He rubs his shins and draws away. While snows the window panes bedim, The fire curls up a sunny charm, Where, creaming o'er the pitcher's rim, The flowering ale is set to warm. Mirth, full of joy as summer bees, Sits there, its pleasures to impart, And children, 'tween their parents' knees, Sing scraps of carols or by heart. And some, to view the winter weathers, Climb up the window seat with glee, Likening the snow to falling feathers, In fancy's infant ecstasy, Laughing with superstitious love O'er visions wild that youth supplies, Of people pulling geese above, And keeping Christmas in the skies. As though the homestead trees were dressed In lieu of snow with dancing leaves, As though the sun dried martin's nest Instead of icicles hung the eaves, The children hail the happy day As if the snow were April's grass, And pleased as 'neath the warmth of May Sport o'er the water froze to glass. Though day of happy sound and mirth, That long with childish memory stays, How blest around the cottage hearth I met thee in my younger days, Harping with rapture's dreaming joys On presents which thy coming found, The welcome sight of little toys, The Christmas gifts of cousins round. The wooden horse with arching head, Drawn upon wheels around the room, The gilded coach of gingerbread, And many colored sugar plum, Gilt covered books for pictures sought, Or stories childhood loves to tell, With many an urgent promise bought To get to morrow's lesson well, And many a thing a minute's sport Left broken on the sanded floor, When we would leave our play and court Our parents' promises for more. Though manhood bids such raptures die, And throws such toys aside as vain, Yet memory loves to turn her eye And count past pleasures o'er again. Around the glowing hearth at night The harmless laugh and winter tale Go round, while parting friends delight To toast each other o'er their ale. The cotter oft with quiet zeal Will musing o'er his Bible lean, While in the dark the lovers steal To kiss and toy behind the screen. Old customs, oh, I love the sound, However simple they may be, Where'er the time have sanction found, Is welcome and is dear to me. Pride grows above simplicity, And spurns them from her haughty mind, And soon the poet's song will be The only refuge they can find. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Approach of Spring by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Now, once again, thou lovely spring, Thy sights the day beguiles, for fresher greens the fairy ring, the daisy brighter smiles. The winds, that late, with chiding voice, would fain thy stay prolong, relent, while little birds rejoice, and mingle into song. Undaunted maiden, thou shalt find Thy home in gleaming woods, Thy mantle in the southern wind, Thy wreath in swelling buds. And may thy mantle wrap thee round, And hope still warm and thrive, And dews with every morn be found To keep thy wreath alive. May coming suns, that tempt thy flowers, Smile on as they begin, And gentle be succeeding hours As those that bring thee in. Full lovely are thy dappled skies, Pearled round with promised showers, And sweet thy blossoms round thee rise To meet the sunny hours. The primrose bud, thy early pledge, Sprouts 'neath each woodland tree, And violets under every hedge Prepare a seat for thee. As maids just meeting woman's bloom Feel love's delicious strife, So nature warms to find thee come, And kindles into life. Through hedgerow leaves in drifted heaps, Left by the stormy blast, The little hopeful blossom peeps, And tells of winter past. A few leaves flutter from the woods That hung the season through, Leaving their place for swelling buds To spread their leaves anew. 'Mong withered grass upon the plain That lent the blast a voice, The tender green appears again, And creeping things rejoice. Each warm bank shines with early flowers, Where oft a lonely bee Drones, venturing on in sunny hours Its humming song to thee. The birds are busy on the wing, The fish play in the stream, And many a hasting curdled ring Crimps round the leaping bream. The buds unfold to leaves a space Along the hedgerow bowers, And many a child with rosy face Is seeking after flowers. The soft wind fans the violet blue Its opening sweets to share, And infant breezes, waked anew, Play in the maiden's hair. Maidens that freshen with thy flowers To charm the gentle swain, And daily, in their milking hours, With lovers' vows again. Bright dews illume the grassy plain, Sweet messengers of morn, And drops hang, glistening after rain, Like gems on every thorn. What through the grass is moist and rank, Where dews fall from the tree, The creeping sun smiles on the bank, And warms a seat for thee. The eager morning earlier wakes To glad thy fond desires, And oft its rosy bed forsakes Ere night's pale moon retires. Sweet shalt thou feel the morning sun To warm thy dewy breast, And chase the chill mist purple dun That lingers in the west. Her dresses Nature gladly trims To hail thee as her queen, And soon shall fold thy lovely limbs In modest garb of green. Each day shall like a lover come Some gifts with thee to share, And swarms of flowers shall quickly bloom To dress thy golden hair. All life and beauty warm and smile Thy lovely face to see, And many a hopeful hour beguile In seeking joys with thee. The sweetest hours that ever come Are those which thou dost bring, And sure the fairest flowers that bloom Are partners of the spring. I've met the winter's biting breath in nature's wild retreat, when silence listens as in death, and thought its wildest sweet. And I have loved the winter's calm, when frost has left the plain, when suns that morning wakened warm, left eve to freeze again. I've heard in autumn's early rain her first, her gentlest song, I've marked her change o'er wood and plain, and wished her reign were long, Till winds like armies gathered round, and stripped her coloured woods, And storms urged on with thunder sound their desolating floods. And summer's endless stretch of green spread over plain and tree, Sweet solace to my eyes had been, as it to all must be. Long I have stood his burning heat, and breathed the sultry day, And walked and toiled with weary feet, nor wished his pride away. But oft I've watched the greening buds brushed by the linnet's wing, When, like a child, the gladdened woods first lisp the voice of spring, When flowers like dreams peep every day, reminding what they bring. I've watched them, and am warned to pay a preference to spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To the Rural Muse by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Muse of the fields, oft have I said farewell To thee, my boon companion, loved so long, And hung thy sweet harp in the bushy dell, For abler hands to wake an abler song. Much did I fear my homage did thee wrong, Yet, loath to leave, as oft I turned again, And to its wires mine idle hands would cling, Torturing it into song, it may be vain, Yet still I try, ere fancy droops her wing, And hopeless silence comes to numb its every string. Muse of the pasture brooks, on thy calm sea Of poesy I've sailed, and through the will To speed where greater than my prowess be I'd ventured, with much fear of usage ill, Yet more of joy, though timid be my skill, As not to dare the depths of mightier streams. Yet rocks abide in shallow ways, and I Have much of fear to mingle with my dreams. Yet, lovely Muse, I still believe thee by, And think I see thee smile, and so forget I sigh. Muse of the cottage hearth, oft did I tell My hopes to thee, nor feared to plead in vain, But felt around my heart thy witching spell, That bade me as thy worshipper remain. I did so, and still worship, oh, again! Smile on my offerings, and so keep them green. Bedeck my fancies like the clouds of even, Mingling all hues which thou from heaven dost glean. To me a portion of thy power be given, If theme so mean as mine may merit aught of heaven. For thee in youth I called the simple flower That on thy bosom gained a sweeter hue, And took thy hand along life's sunny hour, Meeting the sweetest joys that ever grew. More friends were needless, and my foes were few, Though freedom then be deemed as rudeness now, And what once won thy praise now meets disdain. Yet the last wreath I braided for thy brow, Thy smiles did so commend, it made me vain To weave another one, and hope for praise again. With thee the spirit of departed years Wakes that sweet voice which time hath rendered dumb, And freshens, like to spring, love, hopes, and fears That in my bosom found an early home. Wooing the heart to ecstasy, I come To thee when sick of care, of joy bereft, Seeking the pleasures that are found in bloom. O happy hopes, that time hath only left Around the haunts where thou didst erst sojourn! Then smile, sweet Muse, again, and welcome my return. With thee the raptures of life's early day Appear, and all that pleased me when a boy, Though pains and cares have torn the best away, And winter creeps between us to destroy, Do thou commend, the recompense is joy. The tempest of the heart shall soon be calm, Though sterner truth against my dreams rebel. Hope feels success, and all my spirits warm To strike with happier mood thy simple shell, And seize thy mantle's hem. Oh, say not fare thee well. Still, sweet enchantress, you strong feelings move That from thy presence their existence took, The innocent idolatry and love, Paying thee worship in each secret nook, That fancied friends in tree, and flower, and brook, Shaped clouds to angels and beheld them smile, And heard commending tongues in every wind. Life's grosser fantasies did these dreams defile, Yet not entirely root them from the mind. I think I hear them still, and often look behind. Ay, I have heard thee in the summer wind, And if commending what I sung to thee, Ay, I have seen thee on a cloud reclined, Kindling my fancies into poesy. I saw thee smile, and took the praise to me. In beauties, past all beauty, thou wert drest, I thought the very clouds around thee knelt, I saw the sun to linger in the west, Paying thee worship, and as eve did melt In dews, they seemed thy tears for sorrows I had felt. Sweeter than flowers on beauty's bosom hung, Sweeter than dreams of happiness above, Sweeter than themes by lips of beauty sung, Are the young fancies of a poet's love. When round his thoughts thy trancing visions move, In floating melody no notes may sound, The world is all forgot, and past his care, While on thy harp thy fingers lightly bound, As winning him its melody to share, And heaven itself with him, where is it, then, but there? E'en now my heart leaps out from grief, and all The gloom thrown round by care's o'ershading wing, E'en now those sunny visions to recall, Like a bird I quit dull earth and sing Life's tempest swoon to calms on every string. Ah, sweet enchantress, if I do but dream, If earthly visions have been only mine, My weakness in thy service woos esteem, And proves my truth as almost worthy thine. Surely true worship makes the meanest theme divine? And still, warm courage, calming many a fear, Heartens my hand once more thy harp to try, To join the anthem of the minstrel year, For summer's music in thy praise is high, The very winds about thy mantle sigh Love melodies, thy minstrel bards to be, Insects and birds, exerting all their skill, float in continued song for mastery, while in thy haunts loud leaps the little rill, to kiss thy mantle's hem, and how can I be still? There still I see thee fold thy mantles grey, to trace the dewy lawn at morn and night, and there I see thee, in thy sunny day, withdraw thy veil and shine confessed in light, burning my fancies with a wild delight, to win a portion of thy blushing fame, though haughty fancy treat thy power as small, and fashion thy simplicity disdain. Should but a portion of thy mantle fall o'er him who woos thy love, 'tis recompense for all. Not with the mighty to thy shrine I come, in anxious sighs, or self-applauding mirth, on Mount Parnassus, as thine heir to Rome, I dare not credit that immortal birth, but mingling with the lesser ones on earth, like as the little lark from off its nest, beside the mossy hill awakes in glee, to seek the morning's throne a merry guest, so do I seek thy shrine, if that may be, to win by new attempts another smile from thee. If without thee 'neath storms and clouds and wind, I've roamed the wood, and field, and meadow, lea, and found no flowers but what the vulgar find, nor met one breath of living poesy, among such charms where inspirations be, the fault is mine, and I must bear the lot of missing praise to merit thy disdain, to feel each idle plea, though urged, forgot. I can but sigh, though foolish to complain, o'er hopes so fair begun, to find them end so vain. Then will it prove presumption thus to dare to add fresh failings to each faulty song, urging thy blessings on an idle prayer, to sanction silly themes it will be wrong, for one so lowly to be heard so long. Yet, sweet enchantress, yet a little while, forego impatience, and from frowns refrain, the strong are ne'er debarred thy cheering smile, why should the weak, who need them most, complain, alone in solitude, soliciting in vain? But if my efforts on thy heart prove true, which bashful youth at first so feared to try, if aught of nature be in sounds I drew, from hope's young dreams, and doubt's uncertainty, for these late offerings, not without their sigh, then on thine altar shall these themes be laid, and past the deeds of graven brass remain, filling a space in time that shall not fade. And if it be not so, avert disdain, till dust shall feel no sting, nor know it toiled in vain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Summer Images by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Now swarthy summer, by rude health embrowed, precedence takes of rosy fingered spring, and laughing joy, with wildflowers pranked and crowned, a wild and giddy thing, and health robust, from every care unbound. Come on the zephyr's wing, and cheer the toiling clown, happy as holiday enjoying face, loud tongued, and merry as a marriage bell. Thy lightsome step sheds joy in every place, and where the troubled dwell, the witching charms wean them of half their cares, and from thy sunny spell They greet joy unawares. Then with thy sultry locks all loose and rude, And mantle laced with gems of garish light, Come as of wont, for I would fain intrude, And in the world's despite Share the rude wealth that thy own heart beguiles, If haply so I might Win pleasure from thy smiles. Me not the noise of brawling pleasure cheers In nightly revels or in city streets, But joys which soothe, and not distract the ears, That one at leisure meets In the green woods, and meadows summer shorn, Or fields where bee fly greets The ear with mellow horn. The green swathed grasshopper on treble pipe Sings there, and dances in mad hearted pranks. The bees go courting every flower that's ripe On balks and sunny banks, And droning dragon fly on rude bassoon Attempts to give God thanks in no discordant tune. The speckled thrush, by self delight imbued, There sings unto himself for joy's amends, And drinks the honey dew of solitude, There happiness attends, With inbred joy until the heart o'erflow, Of which the world's rude friends, Not heeding, nothing know. There the gay river, laughing as it goes, Plashes with easy wave its flaggy sides, And to the calm of heart in calmest shows What pleasure there abides. To trace its sedgy banks from trouble free Spots, solitude provides To muse and happy be. There, ruminating 'neath some pleasant bush, On sweet silk grass I'd stretch me at mine ease, Where I can pillow on the yielding rush, And acting as I please, Drop into pleasant dreams, or, musing lie, Mark the wind shaken trees, And cloud betravelled sky. There think me how some barter joy for care, And waste life's summer health in riot rude Of nature, nor of nature's sweets aware When passions vain intrude. These, by calm musings, softened are and still, And the heart's better mood Feels sick of doing ill. There I can live, and at my leisure seek Joys far from cold restraints, not fearing pride, Free as the winds that breathe upon my cheek Rude health, so long denied. Here poor integrity can sit at ease, And list self satisfied the song of honey bees. The green lane now I traverse, where it goes, Not guessing, till some sudden turn espies Rude battered finger post, that stooping shows Where the snug mystery lies, And then a mossy spire, with ivy crown, Cheers up the short surprise, and shows a peeping town. I see the wild flowers in their summer morn Of beauty, feeding on joy's luscious hours, The gay convolvulus wreathing round the thorn, Agape for honey showers, And slender kingcup, burnished with the dew Of morning's early hours, Like gold minted new. And marked by rustic bridge, or shallow stream, Cow tending boy, to toil unreconciled, Absorbed as in some vagrant summer dream, Who now, in gestures wild, Starts dancing to his shadow on the wall, Feeling self gratified, Nor fearing human thrall, Or thread the sunny valley laced with streams. or forest rude, and the o'ershadowed brims Of simple pond, where the idle shepherd dreams, Stretching his listless limbs, or trace hay scented meadows, smooth and long, Where joy's wild impulse swims In one continued song. I love at early morn, from new mown swath, To see the startled frog his route pursue, To mark while, leaping o'er the dripping path, His bright sides scatter dew; The early lark that, from its bustle flies, To hail his matin new, and watch him to the skies, To note on hedgerow bulks, in moisture sprent, The jetty snail creep from the mossy thorn, With earnest heed, and tremulous intent, Frail brother of the morn, That from the tiny bent's dew misted leaves Withdraws his timid horn, and fearful vision weaves. Or swallow heed on smoke tanned chimney top, Wont to be first unsealing morning's eye, Ere yet the bee hath gleaned one wayward drop Of honey on his thigh, to see him seek morn's airy couch to sing, Until the golden sky bepaint his russet wing. Or sauntering boy by tanning corn to spy, With clapping noise to startle birds away, And hear him bawl to every passer by, To know the hour of day, While the uncradled breezes, fresh and strong, With waking blossoms play, and breathe Aeolian song. I love the southwest wind, or low or loud, And not the less when sudden drops of rain Moisten my glowing cheek from ebon cloud, Threatening soft showers again, That over lands new plowed, and meadow grounds, Summer's sweet breath unchain, And wake harmonious sounds. Rich music breathes in summer's every sound, And in her harmony of varied greens, Woods, meadows, hedgerows, cornfields, all around, Much beauty intervenes, Filling with harmony the ear and eye, While o'er the mingling scenes Far spreads the laughing sky. See, how the wind enamored aspen leaves Turn up their silver lining to the sun, And hark! the rustling noise, that oft deceives, And makes the sheep boy run, The sound so mimics fast approaching showers, He thinks that rain's begun, And hastes to sheltering bowers. But now the evening kirtles dank and grey, Changing her watchet hue for sombre weed, And moping owls, to close the lids of day, On drowsy wing proceed, While chickering crickets, tremulous and long, Life's farewell inly heed, And give it parting song. The pranking bat its flighty circlet makes, The glow worm burnishes its lamp anew, O'er meadows dew besprent the beetle wakes, Inquiries ever new, Teasing each passing ear with murmurs vain, As wanting to pursue His homeward path again. Hark! 'tis the melody of distant bells, That on the wind with pleasing hum rebounds, By fitful starts, then musically swells O'er the dim silly grounds, While on the meadow bridge the pausing boy Listens the mellow sounds, And hums in vacant joy. Now homeward bound, the hedger bundles round His evening faggot, and with every stride His leathern doublet leaves a rustling sound, Till silly sheep beside His path start tremulous, and once again Look back dissatisfied, and scour the dewy plain. How sweet the soothing calmness that distills O'er the heart's every sense its opiate dews, In meek-eyed moods, and ever balmy trills, That softens and subdues, With gentle quiet bland and sober train, Which dreamy eve renews, In many a mellow strain. I love to walk the fields, they are to me A legacy no evil can destroy, They, like a spell, set every rapture free That cheered me when a boy. Play, pastime, all time's blotting pen concealed, Comes like a new born joy To greet me in the field. For nature's objects ever harmonize With emulous taste that vulgar deed annoys, Which love in pensive moods to sympathize, And meet vibrating joys. O'er nature's pleasing things, nor slighting, deems Pastimes, the muse employs Vain and obtrusive themes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Autumn by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Siren of sullen moods and fading hues, Yet haply not incapable of joy, Sweet Autumn, I thee hail With welcome all unfeigned. And oft as morning from her lattice peeps To beckon up the sun, I seek with thee To drink the dewy breath of fields left fragrant then, In solitudes, where no frequented paths But what thy own foot makes betray thine home, Stealing obtrusive there, to meditate thy end. By overshadowing ponds, in woody nooks, With ramping sallows lined, and crowding sedge, Which woo the winds to play, and with them dance for joy, And meadow pools, torn wide by lawless floods, Where water lilies spread their oily leaves, On which, as wont, the fly Oft battens in the sun, Where leans the mossy willow half way o'er, On which the shepherd crawls astride to throw His angle, clear of weeds that crowd the water's brim, Or crispy hills and hollows scant of sward, Where, step by step, the patient, lonely boy Hath cut rude flights of stairs To climb their steepy sides, Then track along their feet, grown hoarse with noise, The crawling brook that ekes its weary speed, And struggles through the weeds with faint and sullen brawl. These haunts I long have favored, more as now, With thee thus wandering, moralizing on, Stealing glad thoughts from grief, and happy, though I sigh, Sweet vision, with the wild dishevelled hair, And raiment shadowy of each wind's embrace, Fain would I win thine harp To one accordant theme, Now not inaptly craved, communing thus Beneath the curled arms of this stunt oak, While pillowed on the grass, we fondly ruminate O'er the discorded scenes of woods and fields, Ploughed lands, thin travelled with half hungry sheep, Pastures tracked deep with cows, Where small birds seek for seed, Marking the cowboy that so merrily trills His frequent unpremeditated song, Wooing the winds to pause, till echo bawls again, As on with plashy step, and clouted shoon, He rose, half indolent and self-employed, to rob the little birds of hips and pendant haws, and sloes, dim covered as with dewy veils, and rambling brambleberries, pulpy and sweet, arcing their prickly trails, half o'er the narrow lane. Noting the hedger front with stubborn face, the dank, bleak wind that whistles thinly by, his leathern garb thorn-proof, and cheek red-hot with toil, while o'er the pleachy lands of mellow brown, the mower's stumbling scythe clogs to his foot. The ever-eking wisp, with sharp and sudden jerk, till into formal rows the russet shocks crowd the blank field to thatch time-weathered barns, and hovels rude repair, stripped by disturbing winds. See! from the rustling scythe the haunted hare scampers stertorous with startled ears, pricked up, then squat, as by she brushes to the woods, where reeded grass, breast high and undisturbed, forms pleasant clumps, through which the soothing winds soften her rigid fears, and lull to calm repose. Wild sorceress! me thy restless mood delights, more than the stir of summer's crowded scenes, where, jostled in the din, joy palled my ear with song, heart sickening for the silence that is here, not broken inharmoniously, as now, that lone and vagrant bee booms faint with weary chime. Now filtering winds thin winnow through the woods, in tremulous noise that bids, at every breath, some sickly cankered leaf let go its hold and die. And now the bickering storm with sudden start, in flirting fits of anger carps aloud thee urging to thine end, sore wept by troubled skies, and yet, sublime in grief, thy thoughts delight to show me visions of most gorgeous dyes, haply forgetting now they but prepare thy shroud. Thy pencil dashing its excess of shades, improvident of waste, till every bough burns with thy mellow touch, disorderly divine. Soon must I view thee as a pleasant dream, droop faintly, and so reckon for thine end, as said the winds sink low in dirges for their queen, while in the moment of their weary pause, to cheer thy bankrupt pomp, the willing lark starts from his shielding clod, snatching sweet scraps of song. Thy life is waning now, and silence tries to mourn, but meets no sympathy in sounds, as stooping low she bends, forming with leaves thy grave, to sleep inglorious there mid tangled woods, till parched lipped summer pines in drought away. Then from thine ivied trance awake to glories new. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Vanities of Life by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. What are life's joys and gains? What pleasures crowd its ways, that man should take such pains to seek them all his days? Sift this untoward strife on which thy mind is bent. See if this shaft of life be worth the trouble spent. Is pride thy heart's desire? Is power thy climbing aim? Is love thy folly's fire? Is wealth thy restless game? Pride, power, love, wealth, and all Time's touchstone shall destroy, and, like base coin, prove all Vain substitutes for joy. Dost think thy pride exalts Thyself in others' eyes, And hides thy folly's faults, Which reason will despise? Dost strut, and turn, and stride, Like walking weathercocks? The shadow by thy side Becomes thy ape, and mocks. Dost think that power's disguise Can make thee mighty seem? It may in folly's eyes, But not in worth's esteem. When all that thou canst ask, And all that she can give, Is but a paltry mask Which tyrants wear and live. Go let thy fancies range, And ramble where they may, View power in every change, And what is its display. The country magistrate, The lowest shade in power, To rulers of the state, The meteors of an hour. View all, and mark the end Of every proud extreme, Where flattery turns a friend, And counterfeits esteem. Where worth is aped in show, That doth her name purloin, As toys of golden glow Are sold for copper coin. Ambition's haughty nod With fancies may deceive, Nay, tell thee thou art a god, And wilt thou such believe? Go bid the seas be dry, Go hold earth like a ball, Or throw thy fancies by, For God can do it all. Dost thou possess the dower Of laws to spare or kill? Call it not heavenly power When but a tyrant's will. Know what a god will do, And know thyself a fool, Nor tyrant like pursue Where he alone should rule. O put away thy pride, Or be ashamed of power That cannot turn aside The breeze that waves a flower, Or bid the clouds be still, Through shadows they can brave Thy poor mocking will, Then make not man a slave. Dost think, when wealth is won, Thy heart has its desire? Hold ice up to the sun, And wax before the fire, Nor triumph o'er the rain, Which they so soon resign. In this world's ways they gain Insurance safe as thine. Dost think life's peace secure In houses and in land? Go read the fairy lure To twist a cord of sand. Lodge stones upon the sky, Hold water in a sieve, Nor give such tales the lie, And still thine own believe. Whoso with riches deals, And thinks peace bought and sold, Will find them slippery eels That slide the firmest hold. Though sweet as sleep with health Thy lulling luck may be, Pride may o'erstride thy wealth, And check prosperity. Dost think that beauty's power Life's sweetest pleasure gives? Go pluck the summer flower, And see how long it lives. Behold the rays glide on Along the summer plain, Ere thou canst stay, they're gone, And measure beauty's reign. Look on the brightest eye, Nor teach it to be proud, But view the clearest sky, And thou shalt find a cloud. Nor call each face you meet An angel's, 'cause it's fair, But look beneath your feet, And think of what they are. Who thinks that love doth live in beauty's tempting show, shall find his hopes misgive, and melt in reason's thaw, who thinks that pleasure lies in every fairy bower, shall oft, to his surprise, find poison in the flower. Dost lawless passions grasp? Judge not thou deal'st in joy, its flowers but hide the asp, thy revels to destroy. Who trusts a harlot's smile, and by her wiles is led, plays with a sword the while, hung dropping o'er his head. Dost doubt my warning song? Then doubt the sun gives light, doubt truth to teach the wrong, and wrong alone as right, and live as lives the knave, intrigue's deceiving guest. Be tyrant or be slave, as suits thy ends the best, or pause amid thy toils, for visions won and lost, and count the fancied spoils, if e'er they quit the cost, and if they still possess thy mind as worthy things, plat straws with Bedlam Bess, and call them diamond rings. Thy folly's past advice, thy heart's already won, thy fall's above all price, so go and be undone. For all who thus prefer the seeming great for small, shall make white vinegar, and sweetest honey gall. Wouldst heed the truths I sing, to profit wherewithal, clip folly's wanton wing, and keep her within call. I've little else to give, what thou canst easy try. The lesson how to live, is but to learn to die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Thoughts in a Churchyard by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Ah, happy spot! How still it seems, where crowds of buried memories sleep! How quiet nature o'er them dreams! 'Tis but our troubled thoughts that weep. Life's book shuts here, its pages lost with them, and all its busy claims. The poor are from its memory crossed, the rich leave nothing but their names. There rest the weary from their toil, there lie the troubled free from care, who through the strife of life's turmoil sought rest and only found it there. With none to fear his scornful brow, there sleeps the master with the slave, and heedless of all titles now, repose the honored and the brave. There rest the miser and the heir, both careless who their wealth shall reap. E'en love finds cure for heartaches here, and none enjoy a sounder sleep. The fair one far from folly's freaks, as quiet as her neighbor seems, unconscious now of rosy cheeks, without a rival in her dreams. Strangers alike to joy and strife, heedless of all its past affairs, they're blotted from the list of life, and absent from its teasing cares. Grief, joy, hope, fear, and all their crew, that haunt the memory's living mind, ceased when they could no more pursue, and left a painless blank behind. Life's ignis fatuus light is gone, no more to lead their hopes astray. Care's poisoned cup is drained and done, and all its follies passed away. The bill's made out, the reckoning paid, the book is crossed, the business done. On them the last demand is made, and heaven's eternal peace is won. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Nightingale's Nest by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Up this green woodland ride, let's softly rove, and list the nightingale, she dwells just here. Hush! Let the wood gates softly clap, for fear the noise might drive her from her home of love. For here I've heard her many a merry year, at morn, at eve, nay, all the livelong day, as though she lived on song, this very spot, just where that old man's beard all wildly trails rude arbors o'er the road and stops the way, and where that child its bluebell flowers hath got, laughing and creeping through the mossy rails. There have I hunted like a very boy, creeping on hands and knees through matted thorn, to find her nest, and see her feed her young, and vainly did I many hours employ, all seemed as hidden as though unborn. And where those crimping fern leaves ramp among the hazels under boughs, I've nestled down, and watched her while she sung, and her renown hath made me marvel that so famed a bird should have no better dress than russet brown. Her wings would tremble in her ecstasy, and feathers stand on end as 'twere with joy, and mouth wide open to release her heart of its out-sobbing songs. The happiest part of summer's fame she shared, for so to me did happy fancies sharpen her employ. But if I touched a bush, or scarcely stirred, all in a moment stopped. I watched in vain. The timid bird had left the hazel bush, and at a distance hid to sing again, lost in a wilderness of listening leaves. Rich ecstasy would pour its luscious strain, till envy spurred the emulating thrush to start less wild and scarce inferior songs. For while of half the year care him bereaves, to damp the ardor of his speckled breast, the nightingale to summer's life belongs, and naked trees, and winter's nipping wrongs, are strangers to her music and her rest. Her joys are evergreen, her world is wide. Hark! There she is as usual. Let's be hush! For in this black thorn clump, if rightly guessed, her curious house is hidden. Part aside these hazel branches in a gentle way, and stoop right cautious 'neath the rustling boughs. For we will have another search to day, and hunt this fern strewn thorn clump round and round, and where this reeded wood grass idly bows, we'll wade right through it is likely nook. In such like spots, and often on the ground, they'll build, where rude boys never think to look. Ay, as I live, her secret nest is here, upon this white thorn stump. I've searched about for hours in vain. There, put that bramble by. Nay, trample on its branches, and get near. How subtle is the bird! She started out, and raised a plaintive note of danger nigh, ere we were past the brambles, and now, near her nest, she sudden stops, as choking fear, that might betray her home. So even now, we'll leave it as we found it, safety's guard of pathless solitude shall keep it still. See there, she's sitting on the old oak bough, mute in her fears, our present doth retard her joys, and doubt turns every rapture chill. Sing on, sweet bird, may no worse hap befall Thy visions, than the fear that now deceives. We will not plunder music of its dower, Nor turn this spot of happiness to thrall, For melody seems hid in every flower That blossoms near thy home. These harebells all Seem bowing with the beautiful in song, And gaping cuckoo flowers with spotted leaves Seems blushing of the singing it has heard. How curious is the nest! No other bird Uses such loose materials, or weaves Its dwelling in such spots. Dead open leaves Are placed without, and velvet moss within, And little scraps of glass, and scant and spare What scarcely seem materials, down and hair. For from men's haunts she nothing seems to win, Yet Nature is the builder, and contrives Homes for her children's comfort, even here, Where solitude's disciples spend their lives, Unseen, save when a wanderer passes near, That loves such pleasant places, deep adown. The nest is made a hermit's mossy cell, Snug lie her curious eggs, in number 5, Of deadened green, or rather olive brown, And the old prickly thorn bush guards them well. So here we'll leave them, still unknown to wrong, And the old woodland's legacy of song. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To P by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Fair was thy bloom when first I met Thy summer's maiden blossom, And thou art fair and lovely yet, And dearer to my bosom. O thou wert once a wilding flower, All garden flowers excelling, And still I bless the happy hour That led me to thy dwelling. Though nursed by field and brook and wood, And wild in every feature, Spring ne'er unsealed a fairer bud, Nor found a blossom sweeter. Of all the flowers the spring hath met, And it has met with many, Thou art to me the fairest yet, And loveliest of any. Though ripening summers round thee bring Buds to thy swelling bosom, That wait the cheering smiles of spring To ripen into blossom, These buds shall added blessings be To make our love sincerer, For as their flowers resemble thee, They'll make thy memory dearer. And though thy bloom shall pass away By winter overtaken, Thoughts of the past will charms display, And many joys awaken. When time shall every sweet remove, And blight thee on my bosom, Let beauty fade to me, my love, Though it ne'er be out of blossom. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A World for Love by John Clare. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Oh, the world is all too rude for thee, with much ado and care. Oh, this world is but a rude world, and hurts a thing so fair. Was there a nook in which the world had never been too sere? That place would prove a paradise, when thou and love were near. And there to pluck the blackberry, and there to reach the sloe, how joyously and happily would love thy partner go, then rest when weary on a bank where not a grassy blade had e'er been bent by trouble's feet, and love thy pillow made. For summer would be ever green, though sloes were in their prime, and winter smile his frowns to spring in beauty's happy clime. And months would come, and months would go, and all in sunny mood, and everything inspired by thee grow beautifully good. And there to make a cot unknown to any care and pain, and there to shut the door alone on singing wind and rain, far, far away from all the world, more rude than rain or wind. Oh, who could wish a sweeter home, or better place to find, than thus to love and live with thee, thou beautiful delight? Than thus to live and love with thee, the summer day and night? The earth itself, where thou hadst rest, would surely smile to see herself grow Eden once again, possessed of love and thee.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song by John Clare, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Oh, the voice of woman's love! What a bosom stirring word Was a sweeter ever uttered, was a dearer ever heard, than woman's love! How it melts upon the ear, how it nourishes the heart! Cold, ah, cold must his appear who hath never shared a part of woman's love. 'Tis pleasure to the mourner, 'tis freedom to the thrall, the pilgrimage of many and resting place of all, is woman's love. 'Tis the gem of beauty's birth, it competes with joys above. What were angels upon earth if without a woman's love, a woman's love? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love by John Clare, read for LibriVox.org by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, B.C. Love, though it is not chill and cold, but burning like internal fire, is yet not of approaches bold, which gay dramatic taste admire. Oh, timid love, more fond than free, in daring song is ill portrayed, where, as in war, the devotee by valor wins each captive maid, where hearts are pressed to hearts in glee, as they could tell each other's mind, where ruby lips are kissed as free as flowers are by the summer wind. No, gentle love, that timid dream, with hopes and fears at foil and play, works like a stiff against the stream, and thinking most finds least to say. It lives in blushes and in sighs, in hopes for which no words are found. Thoughts dare not speak, but in the eyes the tongue is left without a sound. The pert and forward things that dare their talk in every maiden's ear, feel no more than their shadows there, mere things of form with naught of fear. True passion that so burns to plead is timid as the dove's disguise. 'Tis for the murder aiming glede to dart at everything that flies. True love, it is no daring bird, but like the little timid wren, that in the new-leaved thorns of spring shrinks farther from the sight of men. The idol of his musing mind, the worship of his lonely hour, love woos her in the summer wind, and tells her name to every flower, but in her sight no open word escapes his fondness to declare. the sighs, by beauty's magic stirred, Are all that speak his passion there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.